Uh-oh, it cut off the first part of my video where I welcome you to my channel and hope you'll subscribe and introduce that we're talking today on the treasure series, and I'm introducing the letter E, which stands for extract the gem. Treasure, which is extracting the gem. And if you haven't followed me before, there's two other videos where I take the word treasure and break it down and share stories in how these things can enhance our lives by looking back at our own stories. My personal belief is that our own stories are the best ones to learn from. So I welcome you here today, and we're going to jump right in. The story that I want to share with you is one of my own. Years and years ago, I was in a pretty dark place. I was really struggling as a young single mother to take care of my children, and I just didn't feel like there was any light at the end of the tunnel. And for some reason, there was an insight that came to me, and I decided that I was going to make things change. And the only thing I could think of, and this is the insight that came, was that if you want something to change in your life, then you need to do something different. And I could not think of anything different to do. And so I, on a whim, looked into the local community college and decided that I was going to take a couple of classes. And I decided to take one class that would help me in my financial situation. I decided to take an accounting class, and I did not want to do that. I That's a whole nother story, but I was in a place where I was afraid to even open my mail. I was in such dire straits. But that class was, I felt like, one that would help enlighten me in how to better take care of my finances. And the other class, I decided I was going to take something that just sounded interesting, something that was just for me, something that I could enjoy doing. And I didn't even know where I was going to squeeze in the time to do it. But the thing that caught my eye was a photography class. And now, back in those days, people were still using manual cameras a lot, and digital had not come about yet. And I really took a plunge because not only could I not afford it, but it was quite an expensive class to take. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was an opportunity for me to take my children out on outings, to take rolls and rolls of film of them playing. And I decided that they were going to be my subject matter for the most part, unless we had a specific assignment, which they did, many assignments that didn't involve my passion, which was my kids. But the part that I really enjoyed about those classes wasn't the taking of the pictures, although like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed that. But it was the darkroom that really opened my eyes and gave me some truly valuable insights that have served me well. And I think that that is the gem that I'm going to pull forth in this story, because it's in the dark that we find things grow. When you plant a seed, it's planted in the cold, dark earth. But so is our greatest learning experiences, experienced first through a dark place. And at the time, I was in that dark space. But when I started looking at things in that dark room, there's several things that happen completely in the dark. One, you have to get the film out of the camera and put it in a dark bag, and literally by feel put it on a roll where it's exposed to the chemicals that it needs to develop that negative. And that's another thing that came to me was, we use the positives is the picture that we want, but it starts out with a negative. And I was gaining these insights as I was taking these lessons. And I felt like my life was just full of negatives, but I was putting them in these bags, and I was going to expose them, first of all, to the darkness. and then into a solution-oriented thinking, maybe, and then take them from there, those negatives, into the dark room. And in the dark room, they were exposed very carefully to light, a little bit at a time. And it was in that exposure to this sometimes very small amounts of light that the positives revealed themselves. And I found that if you expose a negative to too much light, all you get is a burned out picture. It's not going to be anything that's worth keeping. So you have to be really careful how much light you expose it to in the process. And this is quite a learning thing. But that insight has served me well throughout the rest of my life. And I still think about it even today, especially as I go into what I call the dark space again. And right now I'm facing some of those dark places. And I'm not saying that they're dark as in terrible or anything like that, but they're unknown. One of the biggest things that I'm facing right now is I have made a decision to step away from the corporate world. And so, have you ever had an experience in your life that has given you this this wonderful aha moment that has carried you through some hard places, like I did in that dark room? That experience with that, I have my album that I created during that class, and I took some pretty fantastic pictures that I treasure. And my children are captured in things that they love to do. And I thoroughly enjoy looking at it. But more than even the memories that come back at looking at those pictures is the memory of where I was and what I came through and the lessons that I learned. And so when we're looking at our stories, and our stories have so much to teach us that it just feels so good to me to have a chance to talk about those things, because it's our own stories and nothing can tell our stories like we can. And having experienced a lot of in my life and going forward in the kind of a scary situation, but it's the right thing to do. I've decided that, nobody can learn the lessons that we learn through experience. And it's through sharing of those experiences that we add value to other people's lives. And I love reading other people's stories. And today, in today's world of AI, and they push it so hard, this is one of the reasons I struggle with the corporate field that we're in, is because they push it so hard. I encourage people, and I'm encouraging you out there. This is kind of one of my things. Don't let someone else, don't let a robot tell your story for you. You tell it. You find the meaning in it. You find that gem that your own experiences taught you and share it. Let's find a way to share those things together, and then we can better the world, I believe. I listened to someone speak the other day that had kind of a similar opinion than I did, and of course I resonate with similarities. But he made the statement that one of the most valuable things in the future is going to be people with real opinions. Wow, don't lose your opinions. And as I was writing my book, I I found so much value in every story that I looked at over the course of my life, from the earliest memories, from the very beginning, all the way to just current. And I have thoroughly enjoyed discovering the lessons that I had walked right by, the gems that came out. And I came up with quite a list of genuine me quotes. And someday I think I might make I don't know, maybe some posts or something of those quotes. And but I really enjoy the insights that I've learned from myself. And so it's not just about learning from other people. I think, again, it's the learning that we learn from ourselves. and we can share those things. And I'm finding that other people have similar experiences. For now, my message today is tell your story, share your wisdom, and leave a little light behind you. Just saying.